Hello, my name is Associate Gadaro. I'm a first-year pre-pharmacy major from Petersburg, Virginia, and this is our presentation on the correlation of the Predictor Isabella bandwidth in the extremity of winter. Our abstract was as follows. In this study, the group planned to investigate the correlation between the Predictor Isabella bandwidth in the extremity of winter to see if the wives' tail behind it helped some weight. Upon starting the study, we asked the old wives' tail that the broader the black bandwidth is, the harsher the winter will be, would fit the Predictor Isabella. If the old wives' tale fits, then the northern states would have a higher percentage of black bandwidth than the southern states, since the north is typically colder and harsher during the winter. The design of this study focused heavily on the internet to gather information and observations. iNaturalist was used to collect data from each state east of the Mississippi Valley. Around 50 observations from each of the 26 states were collected. However, some states did not have enough larvae sightings on iNaturalist, so the number 50 was chosen. The sections of the larvae were measured to create percentages and later put into Google Sheets to analyze. Once the average temperature from December to March, the winter season, was collected for each year 2013 to 2018, they were cross-referenced with each observation to come up with a correlation analysis. Conducting this study, we found an average correlation of 0.22 throughout all of the years, with a standard deviation of 0.3. This led us to conclude that there was a correlation between the bandwidth of the Predictor Isabella and the harshness of the winter. However, the correlation was weak. The Predictor Isabella originated from the east coast of the United States, from the Mississippi Valley to the Atlantic Ocean, which is how we decided which area we wanted to get the data from. Our aim for this investigation was to find the correlation between the bandwidth and the winter extremity. In their larvae stage, they have black fur on the heads and on their butts, and they have brown fur in the middle. And the folklore that we decided to focus on, because there are many, decided to focus on was the broader the larvae black bands, the harsher and colder the winter. The broader the larvae brown bands, the milder the winter. So we did some research and we found previous studies on the same activity, or the same study. And the first study was in 1948, and it was by Corin, a scientist who liked to investigate the weather, and he saw that there weren't enough observations to find a true correlation, and that we needed at least thousands of samples to get a true correlation. Next, there was Dr. Birnbaum in 2008, but she only explained why the bandwidth changes and not the correlations. She found that the bandwidth changed due to humidity and temperature. Upon further research, we found that age, feeding, and in the specific species of the Isabella tiger moth decided what color the fur would be. In the end, we expected for the northern states to have more black bandwidth percentage than brown if the myth held true. Our hypothesis was the broadness of the black bandwidth of the Isabella tiger moth larva correlates with the harshness of the winter.
Hello, my name is Jordan Griffin. I'm a freshman biology pre-med major from Atlanta, Georgia, and I will be continuing to talk about our project today. For our methodology, we realized that the Predictor Isabella tiger moth is found only east of the Mississippi Valley of the United States. The states that the bug lives in west of the Mississippi River Valley, that they were introduced to, and they are not native species there, so we did not account for those states in our research. The states east of the Mississippi River Valley consist of Maine, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Indiana, Illinois, West Virginia, Kentucky, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Maryland, Wisconsin, Mississippi, Tennessee, Vermont, Delaware, and Rhode Island. From each state, we recorded a total of 50 observations, and some states did not have 50 observations, so we recorded all of the observations in that state. In order to measure the Piatra Isabella tiger moths, we used photos from iNaturalist that other people have posted of the tiger moths and used a ruler to measure the width of the head, the middle, and the butt. We then took these measurements and turned them into ratios of black percentage to brown percentage on each tiger moth. We later graphed these ratios and found the averages of them for each state and then put them into large graphs. We also used Google to find the average temperature of the winter months, including December, January, February, and March in each of the 26 states, and then compared them to the ratios of the black to brown percentage on each tiger moth. In figure 1, you can see the measurements of each larva, the middle measurement, the butt measurement, and the head measurement, all in centimeters. And you can see the average of all of the entries that we found put into a bar for each state. In figure 2, the measurements of each larva, head, butt, and middle were put into categories based off of the percentage of black each moth has on its body. In category 1, it was 0 to 24% black spike coverage. In category 2, it was 25 to 49% black spike coverage. For category 3, it was 50 to 74% black spike coverage, and for category 4, it was 75 to 100% black spike coverage. In figure 3, we just put our average temperatures that we found for each month in the winter months, December, January, February, March, for each of the 26 states for the past 5 years from 2013 to 2018.
Hi, my name is Lovey Sturchill. I'm a first-year biology pre-med major from Chicago, Illinois, and I'll be explaining the discussion of our study. So, Periodictica Isabella's colors vary and are not constant nor predictable. Some years when it's cold, the larvae are more brown than black, and other years when it's cold, the larvae are more black than brown. Only a weak correlation can be determined between the black bandwidth percentages and the harshness of the winter. This can be seen by looking at the percent of black on the overall larvae body, the weather from each year from 2013 to 2018, and the month that the samples were observed. From the data and calculations, a 0.22 correlation was found between the black bandwidth of the Periodictica Isabella and the average winter of each state. The correlation is low, but there is still a relationship present. Because the correlation is positive, an increase in one variable is associated with an increase in the other variable as well. These variables are the black bandwidths and the average winter temperature. This means that when the broadness of the black bandwidth of the larvae is larger, the winter is colder. These results support the hypothesis that there is a correlation between the broadness of the black bandwidth and the harshness and coldness of the winter. However, a correlation does not suggest that one variable causes the other. Therefore, although a correlation was found, another variable may be responsible for the harshness of the winter.
Hello, my name is Deshae Wilcher, a first-year bio pre-med major from Indianapolis, Indiana. In conclusion, the Periodictica Isabella moth's colors vary and are not constant nor predictable, and some years when it is cold, they are more brown than black on the moth's bodies. Other years when the weather is cold, there is more black than brown on the moth's bodies. Drawn from all states by looking at the percent of black on the overall moth body and the weather from each year that the samples came from, no strong correlation can be determined based off of the collected data. There are some bias due to the lack of observation consistency throughout the states.